Welcome back to my Digital Sukkah, Rabbi Andy's Digital Sukkah. This is Andy Koren. I'm one of the rabbis with Temple Emmanuel in Greensboro, North Carolina, and we're so delighted that you're here for this conversation that I had just a few days ago, this pre-recorded conversation. As we continue our celebration of Sukkot, I hope that you enjoy all of this. If you do, give us a like, and please be sure to share with others, but most importantly, share your goodness, share your presence, and share your kindness with a world that is greatly in need of it. So without any further delay, let's check out today's conversation. Hag Sameach. So welcome everybody. Welcome to my Digital Sukkah. I'm Rabbi Andy Koren with Temple Emmanuel in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I am joined on this very, very joyous day. Hag Sameach to you, and just I hope this Sukkot is filled with such goodness and blessing and joy. But I'm joined by three colleagues and three very, very dear friends from here in the Triad who work primarily with college students in a place that is near and dear to my heart, and a part of the Jewish world that is near and dear to my heart, which is the Hillel movement. Hillel, of course, is the central address for Jewish campus life on well over 400 campuses around our country and around the world. And so this morning I'm joined by someone that I think you know very, very well. She's the president of Temple Emmanuel, and that's Amy Epstein. What you may not know is that the hat she wears during the day is as the director at High Point University, Hillel. I'm also joined by Gail Bretan, who again is someone in the Greensboro area that we know very well. Gail in the past had been the volunteer coordinator with Federation and Jewish Family Services, and is now focused on the Jewish students at Wake Forest University. And Vicki Cathcart, who's just been a phenomenal addition to the Greensboro area. Vicki works here in Greensboro with the college students, university level students at UNC Greensboro, where my daughter is a very proud alum, Guilford College, as well as various other campuses in the area. Many of us know that our area is central to a number of universities and institutions of higher learning. The last that I heard was something like there are 8 college campuses if you draw a pretty wide circle around our area. And so we're known for universities, the Greensboro area is, and college studies, but we're also known for Jewish life on campus. So I want to say welcome to you all, and Hag Sameach.
Hag Sameach.
Hag Sameach.
Hag Sameach.
Good. So I have a couple questions this morning. You know, whenever we're with guests, you know, first off, I hope that everybody's doing okay, that you and yours are healthy. You know, a lot of news these days has been focused on campuses, and I think that there's a lot of information that's out there, but you guys are front and center, right? This is the work that you do. So if I could start off, and maybe in this respect, I'll turn to Gail first. What's Jewish life been like on campus? Just, you know, if we were to draw a line, maybe starting back in March, you know, as we first start hearing words like COVID and coronavirus, at least here in the United States. I mean, you know, the spring semester, the fall semester. Give us a little snapshot of what Jewish life has been like on campus, and then Vicki, if you would come in afterwards, and then Amy.
So I'm Gail Bretan. I'm the Associate Chaplain for Jewish Life at Wake Forest and the default Hillel Director. We have 300 self-identified Jewish undergraduate students. And before COVID, we had a weekly Shabbat dinner that 20 to 60 students attended. That's a pretty high percentage. And a lot of people may think of Hillel, especially if you are of a certain age, as being very religious, where all the religious students go. Well, no, Hillel is the place where all the social students go. So our Shabbat dinner, we do our 3 Shabbat blessings, and then we socialize and we chat and we get caught up on what we're doing, and it's quite wonderful. So then COVID hit, and what do? The students were having Zoom fatigue from all of their classes, and I'm sure a lot of you are having Zoom fatigue as well. And so services, being together has taken on a totally different viewpoint. Wake Forest is one of the few universities now that people are actually back at the university. And so our students, especially our first years, are having you know, it's hard to gather because everybody is being social distance, everybody is masked. And so you want to be able to see people, you want to see smiles and expressions, and that's been really, really difficult. Um, our holiday celebrations, obviously, we would get 80 to 100 people. We can't do that now. So we've been doing smaller, more intimate activities with our students, holiday giveaways and things like that. So COVID has really changed the way that everybody is doing their life, but on college campuses where the whole idea is, you know, students come and they build community and they're with each other physically. This has been a very difficult time, but also a time when the students really feel connected to community because they want to be part of a community. So navigating that has been quite interesting and quite wonderful as well.
Yeah, thank you, Gail. Vicki, at this point, maybe there's a lot that rings familiar, but maybe you also have a different snapshot of what's going on UNCG and Guilford and some of the other schools that you're connected with here in Greensboro.
Yeah, so thank you, Andy, for having us in your sukkah. It is a beautiful day outside. Um, and you know, it's interesting. UNCG right now is, they're on campus. About 44% of their classes are in person, but that doesn't mean that all of the students are here in Greensboro. So what we've noticed in March, since March, we quickly pivoted. We were getting ready to do some large programs where we were partnering with other divisions in the school. We were getting ready for our first ever Pride Shabbat with the Office of Intercultural Engagement. There was a lot of excitement. We had a number of programs coming up, and then the world stopped, as we knew. But we didn't, and Hillel never stopped, and the universities never closed. And we found out that the students really needed more one-on-one support. It's almost like they were in quicksand and we had a maneuver, so we weren't sinking together, that we were still here for our students, that we care so deeply. And that's, one of the things that we want to make sure is that they needed support, and they needed it more than ever, in various ways. Are they eating? Are they sleeping? Are they getting access to the things that they need? And so we wanted to make sure that that one-on-one connection really continued. And so where a lot of Hillel professionals will do professional development during the summer or kind of take off, Gail and Amy know none of us did that this summer. If not, we made sure that we worked, harder to, some students might not have the best home situation, or just needed some extra support. And that's what we were doing since March. UNCG, as of September 1st, stopped all in-person campus student group programming. So we are all virtual. Virtual doesn't mean boring, it means innovation. And I know we'll explore some of that in a little bit, but and Guilford is back on campus. I got to go to a student org fair. Students were so excited to see people in person. But, beginning this fall, we just want to continue and make students know that we are here and we care deeply about them.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Vicki, yeah, I mean, so often we're dealing with, what's going on, on the professional level, but hearing about the focus on the personal level is really, really, an important thing. And just, for all three of you, the work that you're doing, because as families, are sending sending part of their family out somewhere else. And even if students are closer to home, nonetheless, that responsibility taking those next steps is really critical. So, Amy, how about you? Because I I think similar to Gail, you work at a private university in Guilford College, also with Vicki. But you have a lot of students coming from afar. But tell us a little bit about the snapshot on High Point University's campus, in particular with Jewish life there.
Sure. Thank you, Rabbi Koren. It's so good to all be together in the Sukkah on this beautiful fall day. So I'm Amy Epstein. I am wearing my High Point University Hillel hat and shirt today, wearing that to talk a little bit about what's going on our campus. We have just under 200 Jewish students, self-identified Jewish students on campus. It's definitely been growing the past 5 years. I actually have a student who will tell you, she's in grad school now, but she will tell you that her freshman year, she'd have 2 people for Shabbat dinner. And before COVID hit, we were averaging 35 to 40 students for monthly Shabbat dinner. When COVID hit, the students really tried to keep those connections that they built over the last couple of years. And we changed to doing the 3 Shabbat blessings every week. On Zoom, which has continued back on campus. So we are a university that, like Wake Forest, our students are on campus. They are having in-person classes. And we did have a kind of a little bit of a COVID spike 3 weeks into school. And so all in-person activities were shut down at that point. So now everything is virtual. And the students are really trying to make the best that they can with the situation. I agree with Gail that the first year students are having a really hard time because basically they go to class and they get their food to go and they're in their rooms. So we're trying. And we still try to have a weekly social program, albeit on Zoom. And then we do our Shabbat and high holiday blessings together. But we're still seeing students come out, and freshmen and seniors that we haven't met in the past have come out for Rosh Hashanah. So we are also, like at Wake Forest, we're a pretty secular community, but we use the holidays and Shabbat kind of the foundation of our programming. So we're constantly educating our Jewish students on campus, but the greater High Point University community about what it's like to be Jewish in general and on this campus as a minority. But we're about 4% of the general High Point University campus are Jewish students.
Yeah. I mean, it just strikes me that, while in-person gatherings at this point are really off the table, what's still on the table are things that have been, part and parcel of Jewish life for a long, long time, right? There's the internal work that we do as well as the external work, right? Connecting with other communities, right? Just because of COVID doesn't mean that, we're not also talking about who we are and really looking for our presence on campus. Vicki, before when you were talking, you mentioned the word innovations, right? Universities are known as places of innovation. It's so funny, when I was a Hillel rabbi, people would always say, well, have you tried this or have you tried that? I'm like, yeah, I mean, these are all great things, but we've got, people that are always feeling like they're in the laboratory. In fact, we're trying this and this and this. And it's like, people's minds would be blown by some of the ways that we were taking Jewish ideas and Jewish programming really to new levels. So I want to do this again this time. Let's go, Vicki, then Amy and Gail. Talk a little bit, because even with all the focus on health and on COVID, right, what's some of the innovative work that's going on that you're involved with, on campus these days, maybe heightened by, the fact that we're using more digital means or for other reasons? So take us forward.
Absolutely. So, with change comes the opportunity for innovation. And so we're looking at different ways to reach different students. Some have Zoom fatigue. We just want them to know that we're here, we're still here to have fun, we're still here to learn, and we still care. So in those kind of 3 buckets, when we're here to learn, what's been great is North Carolina Hillel, which is across 9 different campuses across the state. We've really been working together as a statewide team to offer programs to make sure that the students at App and at ECU have the opportunity to stay connected. And so what we're doing is we're doing a Jewish learning fellowship. We've offered 5 different classes this semester. I have the honor to teach one called Sex, Love, and Romance with a colleague at Chapel Hill, Tamara Zishik. And so that meets every week for 10 weeks. This is part of the larger Hillel movement. We have students in that group from Chapel Hill, from Guilford, from Greensboro, from Charlotte. So it's been a really nice opportunity to connect students with other students statewide. We've done virtual lounge, taking the next level of the Bitmoji craze for educators, and created a UNCG lounge. If we can't meet in person, we'll bring it to you is kind of our philosophy. So over the summer, I got to do virtual walks with students. We would schedule time. I would walk outside of my beautiful neighborhood in Greensboro while another student might be in Charlotte, and we would walk and talk together. We've had some amazing opportunities for partnerships, especially with JFS and donations for the Spartan Open Pantry, as we've seen the increase. They're giving out about 1,000 pounds of food a week. And so we're also kind of doing this Hillel Dash where we deliver things to your door. So it could be a Shabbat box. Last week, we gave over 200 Rosh Hashanah gift boxes statewide. We just got money for funding for wellness boxes that we're going to be that students can pick up. And so again, the theme, being innovative as we can is if we can't meet in person, we will find a way to connect with you either on person or offline. Tonight, we're doing a late night program with Guilford and UNCG, games, name that tune, categories. And so it's just been really fun to recreate and re-energize and look at things from a different perspective. And so that's been really exciting.
Amy, how about you? Tell us a little bit about what's going on at High Point in terms of innovation. I mean, I've been out on that campus a number of times, and it just seems like innovation is, plastered on every wall. So,
Yeah.
Hillel-wise, student-wise, what are some of the things they're building on also on what Vicki said, which is fantastic.
Yeah, so innovation is definitely a general theme at High Point University. It is embedded in just their everyday existence. But areas where I think that have been really good to us during this time, and I'm going to let Gail talk more about the shared Israel Fellow between High Point, Wake Forest, and Elon University, so Triad Area Israel Fellow, is that it can be he's going to be teaching some classes that will be shared between the 3 universities. So like the NC Hillel model, our students will be able to meet other students and be in class together, so to speak, an optional Israel class with students from other university. And the students really enjoy that. The other thing that has happened is that Hillel International, which I don't know that I call them necessarily a parent organization or an umbrella organization, but they're there to support all of our campuses, is that they've been giving us all kinds of opportunities to come together as cohorts, as professionals, and for our students. So the Get Out the Vote platform is called Mitzvah, and I think that we all 3 have chapters on our campuses for Mitzvah, kind of a play on words there. But the student leaders are then invited to be on a platform that they haven't had before, where they're in cohorts with students on other campuses. And the same with presidents of the Hillel, the local Hillel chapters. We're invited to participate in cohorts with other presidents on other campuses, whether they be big or small, West Coast, East Coast. And so I think that in the bigger scheme of things, our students have seen beyond their own individual or campus bubble to see this bigger Jewish world out there, and that there's so much opportunity for them. And I think that for the students at High Point University, that has been those have been great opportunities and great, a new lens for them to view Hillel and Jewish life. And that's what our goal is that that Jewish life will stay with them as they continue through their college journey and young adulthood.
Gail, how about you? Tell us a little bit about some of the innovative things that are going on with your work out of the chaplain's office, and in particular at Wake Forest with Jewish students.
Well, first of all, as you can see, I have the best cohorts. I mean, the best colleagues. They are phenomenal. And we meet on a regular basis to talk about the innovative things that we're doing and to share ideas. And I think that's really wonderful about the whole Hillel movement and about our own Triad area, because we all live really close to each other, and we share a lot of the same values, and we care so deeply about our students. I mean, you know, you call us anytime, we're thinking about our students, we're talking with our students, we're doing things with them. So, and that takes me to our Israel Fellow. So with High Point and Elon and Wake Forest University, we have an Israel Fellow, and he is doing innovative programs. He's doing Israel Talk. He is doing a lot of one-on-ones. He's been going to campuses, and he's been talking to students and finding out, you know, their viewpoints on Israel, and a lot of students who don't have a connection, and he's the person who's making connection. This is a face and a personality and a caring person who they get a different viewpoint than what's on TV. So that's been really great. As an employee of the university and as a person who is in the chaplain's office, I have access to resources through the university, as well as bouncing ideas off of all of my colleagues, because they're also hearing things from around the country. And so that gives us an opportunity to brainstorm ideas and to talk about how we can best serve our communities all around. Because we also do a lot of interfaith activities, and it is a way for people to, you know, Wake Forest amazes me all the time, because people say, you know, I've never met a Jewish person before in my life. Mm-hmm. And so this is an opportunity for our students to tell their stories, and for us to show how wonderful it is to be Jewish and to make those connections. So there's like so many things that we do. And I would say that we don't minister just to our Jewish students. We minister to the whole community, our whole community in our university, our whole Triad community as well. So as I said, I am so blessed to have these colleagues that and doing this work together.
And I would imagine, I would imagine at this time that, you know, especially with some of the conversations more, you know, nationwide now about things like racial injustice, and you know, that these are still areas that we're very, as Jewish students and as Jewish professionals, very involved with on campus, right? Those don't go away. I know that people who are watching are going to ask questions, you know, maybe down the road about things like anti-Semitism, just, you know, or anti-Israel stuff, because we tend to hear about those things a lot outside of campus, and it's just, you know, hearing the type of work that the Israel Fellow is doing, that each of you are doing. If we could do this real quickly, because we talked about a lot of the positives, you know, and if you want to talk about opportunities here, but I want to do two things in like lightning round format. Okay, one would be to talk about a non-COVID related challenge and or opportunity by your choosing, and then I'm going to come back to everybody really quickly, and I want you to tell me what you like most about the work that you do. All right, so Amy, I'm going to turn to you first. Challenges, opportunities, just real quickly, and then, you know, we'll come back again and we'll double back through for what you like most. Go for it.
I think the biggest challenge is, I think Gail just said, about people have never met anyone Jewish before. Mm-hmm. So a general theme for us and mission is really talking about just educating people about Judaism in general. And our student leaders want to be known as a very inclusive group on campus. And we have that message out there all the time. So we're just putting it out there that we're here to be your friend and educate you, and anything to take away any biases or anything you ever knew about Judaism or didn't know, we want to talk about it firsthand.
And Vicki, what about you? I'm going to ask you to, I think you put yourself on mute, so.
We always joke that if you put yourself on mute, you yell bingo. And we've played Zoom bingo at staff meetings and different things before. But in all seriousness, I went to the University of Missouri in Columbia, Mizzou, go Tigers. College was such a different experience, as we all know, with the four of us, that, college was a while ago. I was fortunate to have a job. I worked at the synagogue. I had one job. Many of my students have more than one job. Leaving college with so much debt, the amount of student loans, they don't get to experience necessarily the college life that they'd like to. Some are working 2-3 jobs. They can't come to Shabbat dinner because they're always working on the weekends, or they can't join us for different programs because they go from work to study. And so we let them know that we're here. If you come to one program, we will find a way for you to also make sure that you're fitting your Jewish journey, your Jewish life into that hectic schedule. And so, yeah, it's college debt and working and paying the bills for a lot of students.
I really want people to hear that also. I mean, these are the real life concerns off the headlines, right, out of the Jewish press, but very much in the hearts and in the experience of college students these days. Gail, also in the lightning round, what would you highlight?
So unfortunately, there is a scourge, a pandemic, not COVID, but loneliness. I would say that loneliness is the biggest issue that we're seeing in our time. Students who may have grown up on social media and on playing video games and don't know necessarily how to interact in person, but also with COVID, they don't know what to do. They're lonely. They're in college, they've heard about their whole life. Oh, your roommate in college is going to be your best friend forever. And now they don't have a roommate because they're social distancing. And so how do you meet people? How do you learn those social skills that you learned in college? And because there's less activities on campus. So people are in their rooms, and yes, you go to class, but then you come back and you study, and what else is there? So loneliness, I would say, is our biggest challenge.
I hear you. Well, let's do this, okay? Just if we could pivot. I want to hear from you. What is it that you like most about the work that you do? So I'm going to go on my screen here, just in whatever order. Vicki, if you would take us first.
Absolutely. So I could talk about this for 30 minutes. I absolutely, Gail and Amy as well, love the work we do. So I'll be as quick as possible. I love mentoring students. We have 5 paid internships this semester, everything from anti-racism and anti-Semitism advocacy to intercultural engagement to social media, giving the students the real life experience. That one-on-one, a lot of the students call me their mom on campus. I says, as long as that's okay with your mom, it's okay with me. And then when their mom calls me their campus mom, I know that it's good. And then also from the professional side, I mean, Hillel International in North Carolina, Hillel really invest in me as a professional. There's opportunity for professional development, for learning, and they really take the model, what we're giving to our students, they want to breathe into us. So I was part of a masterclass Israel cohort for 5 months, Torah learning. Amy, Gail, and I last year drove to Higa, the Hillel General Assembly, Global Assembly together. And so the friendships, the cohorts, I'm probably taking everything that Amy and Gail are like, why didn't I get to go first? But yes, so I could talk on and on, but I know we're running out of time, so I will go ahead and turn it over. But the answer is the good, the bad, everything. You know, when students struggle, knowing that we can be some sort of support for them. And really the students, they're everything.
Mm.
So.
Gail, how about you?
Yeah, I was going to just start by saying the students. We're here for the students, and our students are amazing, totally amazing. I mean, when you see them start, you know, and coming to Hillel events, and they're shy and they don't know anybody, and then they get on the board, and then they develop skills, and then they increase their confidence, and then they develop more friends, and you know, it's an amazing, amazing thing. So, you know, I have the wonderful, wonderful students, and I have great colleagues. So, yeah, I feel very, very blessed to be doing this work.
And I'll turn now to Amy Epstein for really the last word on a very cool subject. Amy, take us.
So ditto, ditto, ditto. And students and colleagues, and this is kind of a second career for me. So it's really, I didn't realize what a passion it is. And when I graduated college, there weren't the opportunities that students have today. So I have a little envy of them, but, and that helps in encouraging them in their participation, but to watch them grow. And I love my students and colleagues, and this has been such an amazing opportunity. So actually I owe to Rabbi Koren, so thank you.
Well, the three of you, I want to tell you, are really a dream come true. Not only for the students that you work with, the universities, but I'll tell you about the dream. The dream went back about 27 years ago, and this was a consortium of people that were thinking. I came in to direct North Carolina Hillel right out of rabbinic school in 1993. And one of the first things that I was tasked with from a group of people was, well, we've got this idea. We want to hire someone who's not based in Chapel Hill, but will be based in the Greensboro area. And we went ahead and put that plan into place. It took about a year to make it happen. I worked together with people I'm not going to name drop right now, but honestly, you really are a dream come true, because to say we want a presence in this community, a historic community, Greensboro, a place where there were a lot of university students. At that time, there was just one professional. But if you zoom out, right, you look at the three of you and the work that you're doing, and I know that you're joined by other Hillel professionals around these campuses that are served in North Carolina. What an incredible blessing. So on this holiday, you know, we just bless the work of your hands with tremendous gratitude. Thank you so much. I'll find some way to make sure that people have your contact information and websites so that they know how to follow up and to be in touch with you, to be supporters of Hillel around North Carolina and your campuses in particular. But I just want to thank you very much for your time and for your insights today, and to say to everybody, Hag Sameach, and enjoy this time.
Thank you. And Hag
Sameach.
Sameach.
Thank you. Hag Sameach. Yes, the old heart.
Well, I truly am grateful for today's conversation. I just want to thank you for being here. Thank you for checking in and for listening to this conversation. And by all means, feel free to share this with others. I know that it is part of an ongoing connection that we have, not only to our own story here as a temple, as Temple Emmanuel in Greensboro, but also to the larger Jewish story. That's at the heart of what Sukkot is connecting to the larger world, and in particular connecting to our people wherever we may be, to our history, and making this world a better place. So on that note, let me wish you Hag Sameach. Share this with others, and we'll see you again real soon.